Hey, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Mark Franken from Art and Time, and usually I put out weekly a video called Treasures Found in a Broken Bag of Watches. Unfortunately, this week I wasn't able to meet up with my supplier to get a bag, and I've checked out a couple of the local thrift shops and value villages and haven't been able to find a bag of watches. So this week I'm going to do something a little different. I want to show you some of my personal collection of pieces that I've gotten out of broken bags of watches. And the one I want to start with is this one here that in episode 2 of Finding Treasure in a Broken Bag of Watches, I explained that this one I did find. Move my card out of the way here a bit. I found this one out of a broken bag of watches, and I put a new bracelet on. And I explained in the video that this was actually made by a manufacturer that does contract work for different companies. So this watch here on the back has the Honda emblem, but originally this watch is made in Copenhagen, or the company rather is out in Copenhagen that takes the orders for these specialty watches, and this is a chronograph. It originally was this design originally came from Lufthansa for their pilots. But again, this one here, I polished up the crystal on it. I put a new band on it. It didn't come with a band, and it was pretty beaten up. But with a little bit of polish, crystal's got a beautiful movement in it. Solid stainless steel watch. Absolutely love it. And this one never made it to market. I was one of the first watches that I decided to keep for myself. I wear it regularly. I enjoy it very much, and quite an attention grabber. Even though it's just a black dial with the stainless steel, I get a lot of compliments on this watch. It is a little unique. You don't see it around that often, and it's on the dial. It just the name on the dial just simply says Q. So I get a lot of watch enthusiasts that ask me, "Hey, I've never heard of that company before," and I'm like, "Well, yeah, it's." I don't even think that's the company name. But so there's that one. Another one that I got that I found was this Perry Ellis. It's a fashion watch. I love the dial on it. I love the simplicity of it. It's got the day date feature. The only thing, when I first repaired this watch, I cleaned it up. I had to replace the coil in the movement. It's got a beautiful movement, and it's a Miyota movement. I thought there was something missing. Oddly enough, I would look at it and I'm thinking it's just a little bit too plain. And I was actually going to go and put it up for sale. Again, solid stainless steel case. I love the elegance of it. There's just something about it, but there was just something slightly off. And then, as you can tell, today is Sunday when this recording is being made, and you can tell that the Sunday, the SUN in this complication is red. And as soon as I saw that, I knew what the problem was. It was just too plain. So I took the watch apart. I removed the second hand, and I went into my supplies of different second hands, and I found a second hand that just has the red arrow on the top of it. And ever since I did that, I absolutely love this piece. It just needed something, some kind of splash of color, something on the outside. It was just the white, the stainless steel, the silver indices, the silver hands. It was just too much. So I took the second hand, and like I said, I replaced it with a second hand that has an accented red arrow on it. Gave it a really nice polish. The band is terrible, by the way. This is one of my stock bands. It's rolled stainless steel. It rips out hair. It's absolutely atrocious. I'm having a really hard time trying to figure out what band would look nice on this. I know I want to go for a stainless steel one. If you have any ideas, please feel free to leave a comment below. I would love to hear your ideas. I'm really open for that. So right now there's a Jubilee on it. It's extremely crappy bracelet. It is stainless steel, but it is old. It's the rolled metal. I have no idea where this thing came from. It was just in my watch parts that I've been. I threw it on the lug width. They fit the lug width on it. but it removes hair. Boy, it is atrocious. But I do want to go stainless steel. If you have any ideas what you think would look good on this watch, like to complement the dial, the stainless steel and the white face, please feel free to leave me a message. I'd love to take your ideas and see what's out there. So there's this watch here. That's part of my collection. Another one that just came to me recently is this stainless steel, again, a chronograph design. It's a Guess watch. And at first I was going to put this on the market. I was like, right off the bat, I was like, yeah, this is going to go on the market. This is way too big. I don't know. This thing's massive, heavy, solid stainless steel. It's got the sapphire crystal on it. The band is just humongous. Weighs a lot. Like, this watch is really heavy. And then I polished it. Once I finished polishing it, I was looking at it, and then I did the thing that I always do, and it's foolish. I put it on my wrist, and I started wearing it. It wasn't working. In actual fact, it still doesn't work. I have a movement on order for this watch. It's I put a battery in it, and for the life of me, I don't know. Everything looks like it should work. The coil, everything looks perfect in it. Just wouldn't work. I had even the battery tested. I have these a package of all the same type batteries. And I even started going through batteries, testing the batteries. They were all brand new batteries, so they read out well, had the proper voltage and everything. So the batteries are good. So yeah, I just ended up ordering another movement from my supplier, and I'm really looking forward to getting a movement in here. This watch is going to be a keeper. And again, case in point, this came out of a bag of watches, right? Probably maybe $12 for the whole bag. You can check this out. You can find this watch on eBay. I've seen them as low as $50 US, but I've also seen them as high as about $80 to $90 US. Just check them out on eBay, and unbelievable. The quality, it is really good quality. And the one on eBay is not even as polished as this. Like, I really put the polishing wheel to this one to really bring up the shine back into it. The same as the bracelet as well. I might, trying to find links is hard. It is one link, like literally one link off of fitting me perfectly. It fits me. It's just a tight snug. I wish there was a micro adjusters. I only have 2 micro adjusters on this, and it is just a slight, just snug. But when you put it on the wrist, even though, the case is huge, and I'm sorry, I haven't taken the measurement on the case. I should actually be a bit more prepared for that, but it's a huge case. But when it sits on the wrist, as you can see by the profile of it, it just hugs the wrist. It is so comfortable. Even if this is just slightly too tight, it is still so comfortable. It looks absolutely sharp with a suit. It looks nice with a little bit of casual. I just love this piece. I don't know what it is. I just absolutely love this piece. So this is a keeper. I usually don't put that much money into it. Like, I've replaced crowns, stems, but I actually ordered a full movement for this, a brand new movement. It's a gorgeous watch. Retains its value. I think brand new, they must have been around 200. I know if you go on the Guess website for men watches, they're around $200, 174, 150 for some of the lower price ones. This one, I would imagine, would have been over $200, brand new. And it's a beautiful watch. Absolutely love this watch. Another one that I thought was really fun is this one here. This is really kind of a weird watch. Again, I supplied the band for it. Not 100% with the band. It's a mesh band. I have another watch that has a thicker, it's the same design type band. It's a little bit, has a thicker grain to it, and it's, I think would suit it a little more, but for now I just leave this one on. This here, bit of a funny story. This is an Android. The watch company name is Android. It looks purple, but when you remove the dial is actually black, and there's a tint on the crystal. I rarely wear this watch. Like, I Very seldom put this one on. I think it's a fun watch to wear. I think it attracts a lot of attention. I just, for some reason, I can't sell it. I don't know what it is. I keep thinking I'm just going to go up for retail. I'm going to put it up on the market or take it to a shop or something. And I always end up putting it back in my drawer, like in my watch collection. It's a fun, funky watch. I'm sure there's something that I can wear with it. I just have a hard time getting rid of it. I don't know what it is. There's just something about it that it is so completely different. It's not heavy at all. Well, it's got a little bit of weight to it, but not too much. Nothing like the Guess watch. Like this is heavy. This is a little bit lighter. Uh, the designer of this watch, by the way, his name escapes me. I'm terrible with names, and I apologize, but it's easy to look up. He's the CEO and head designer of Argon Watches. Uh, as the story goes, this watch is called Android, and as the story goes, I read on the internet, and always believe what's on the internet. Uh, the designer he's Wang, I believe, or Chang or something. I don't know, something like that. I'm not one of these guys that go into names and a lot of history, but apparently he started a watch company before he went over to Argon. He started a watch company called Android, and as the story goes, Google at the time, who is the founder of Android, like for the phone Android, basically said he had to change the name, and he went to take Google to court, saying, no, it's my company name, I'm not going to change the name. And apparently his lawyer said, yeah, you're dealing with Google, just change the name, you don't have enough money to fight Google. So he ended up shutting Android down, the company, and then got on with Argon, and so now he's the head designer and CEO of Argon. And I'm so sorry that I don't know the name of the guy. I'm just not one of those kind of people. Terrible with names, but anyways, I don't know. It's a fun watch, really cool design. Like I said, I've been meaning to put it on the market, but every time I take it out of my collection, I look at it and it ends up going right back into my collection. There's just something about it I like, and I don't quite know what it is. Now, another one that I absolutely love, and this is my go-to dress watch if I really want to kind of dress up a little bit, and that's this piece here. This here is a vintage Loris. It's a Loris quartz, date complication, absolutely beautiful, breathtaking. Came out of a bag of watches. I'm going to reiterate that it came out of a bag of watches. I put the band on it. The band is brand new. It's a wishbone, fine mesh wishbone. I think it looks absolutely gorgeous on this watch. Personally speaking, I find it breathtaking. This watch, like again, it's a Loris time. I think it dates back to the mid 1980s. Very, very thick plating on it. There is maybe just a couple of chips where you can see the plating coming off. The dial is immaculate. The hands are immaculate. The crystal's immaculate. I absolutely love this piece. And what's nice is, look how thin that is. That is just unreal. It fits on the wrist so smooth. You can wear any dress shirt. It slides right over it. It is one of my favorite pieces. Absolutely. I have very little gold watches. This one here, when I found the band for it, it's a bit of a hard band to put on. You slide that through and lock it down. But that's my go-to. If I want to dress up and just have that touch of gold, in my collection, this is one of the few that I have that are gold. And this, yeah, there's just something about this watch. I absolutely love it. I love the feel of it. I love the rich tones. I love how thin it is and how lightweight it is. Like, just look at that. Like, that is unreal how thin that is. You know, now it is quartz, so yeah, they can easily make a thin watch. I mean, that's not the problem with it. But it is just, yeah, absolutely stunning in my opinion. And I come across a lot of gold watches, like some very, very expensive. But this one, yeah, that's absolutely beautiful. Anyways, now a while back, so this one here, this is a Bulova. A while back, I've had this watch now for 3 years. And a buddy of mine, he's one of my buyers, and I was away, I was out of town or out of province actually, and he sent me this photograph of a bag of broken watches. And he said, and he just started like working for me, getting broken watches. And he wasn't really sure what my tastes were. He wasn't sure looking at the bag. To him, everything looks like junk. He likes going around to different thrift stores and all that. And he travels all over the place. And it's a funny story. He showed me this bag of watches, and amongst all these broken watches, I seen this piece sitting in there. And I said to him, I texted him back. I said, take that bag to the cashier and buy it. Do not put it down. Do not think about it. Do not walk out the store without that bag on you. I said, you need to buy that bag of watches. So he texts me back. He says, well, can I do my own shopping? And I said, no, just go and put the bag of watches in your car. Pay for it and get it the hell out of that store. So a couple of weeks later, I met him at a McDonald's, and he brings the bag of watches. I tear open the bag and I pull this piece out, and I said, "That is solid stainless steel Bulova. It is got the butterfly clasp on it. Absolutely gorgeous." And I can tell you a bit of the history of this watch, this personal piece, and on the dial, it says Daimler Chrysler. I got it upside down. On the dial, it says Daimler Chrysler right at the bottom of it. Of course, this watch isn't anything to do with Daimler Chrysler, but I'll tell you what happened with this watch. This watch ended up becoming a sales reps watch. Like Daimler Chrysler probably awarded one of their sales team, bought this watch for him. The guy may have not been a watch person. He probably took it, chucked it into a junk drawer with a lot of other stuff. Because when I got this watch, by the way, this thing was hacked up. Like it was scratched to oblivion. The bracelet was all scratched up. It was scuffed and scratched, and you name it. It was in bad shape. But the interesting part, all the links were on it. This is sized for me, of course, but all the links were on it. It's a weighted bracelet. It's very heavy. The dial always stays up on top. And I brought it home. I polished it to oblivion. I can't remember how many hours I spent buffing this thing right back up again to its original shine. And it's one of my pride in my collection. I absolutely love this piece. I love the. It's hard to tell on the camera, but it has a pearl-esque dial to it. It's solid stainless steel. It has the date feature. When you do wear it, the dial does always sit up. Like it never rolls around the wrist because this bracelet is so heavy, and with the butterfly at the bottom, it just with the weight of it. It always stays on the top of your wrist. It is comfortable to wear. It goes beautiful with a suit. It looks classy. It is understated, yet has just enough flash to it that it catches the eye. And of course, it's a Bulova. I mean, I'm into fashion watches, but Bulova is a watch brand, an actual dated watch brand with history. As you may probably know if you see my other videos, I'm not a Rolex guy. I'm not a Cartier. I love those brands. I think they're really cool. They make beautiful watches. But I think something like this, at literally a fraction of the cost, could stand up to any other watch. I honestly, I believe it would. I'm a bit of a fashion watch guy. I like fashion watches. I truly believe that you buy what you like, and you don't have to spend a ton of money on it. I mean, hey, I buy bags of broken watches, like for crying out loud, right? So I never frown upon anybody that wears anything. If it makes you happy and you enjoy wearing it and it makes you feel good, it's your watch. You do what you want. I never put anybody else's watches down. And this is just one of those pieces that fell into my hands, discarded by somebody who just probably doesn't care about watches altogether, and that's fine because more watches for me. And then the battery died. Someone was probably cleaning this person's house out, dumped it at Value Village. The people at Value Village looked at it and said, oh, it's broken, threw it in a bag of watches when all it needed was a battery. Beautiful, beautiful piece. Absolutely love this watch. And like I said, this is one of my my crown pieces. And then, this is my wife's watch. This came out of a bag of watches. Interesting little story behind this. This came in pieces. So I had the one bag, and I found the case. It was the case and the the band here, which is these little old flexible bands, really nice, very comfortable. And I put the case aside. I'm like, you know what? Maybe I'll come up with something. And then I opened up another bag of watches, and the movement, the movement, and the case back was sitting in there. And on these old type watches, this is really old. Romer's a very good name. They're not around anymore, but it was a very expensive watch in its time. This is very thickly plated, 10 karat gold. Um, Absolutely a charming little watch. I gave it to my wife. She wanted something to wear with a dress, but she wanted something archaic, like something old, like something vintage, something that is warm and flashy but not over the top. And I said, I know the piece for you, and I finished it up and I gave it to her. She absolutely adores this little timepiece. It is a wind up, not an automatic. It runs beautiful, but a watch of this caliber, like Romer, they last forever if they're maintained. And this one was, and I can tell it was maintained because when I took the movement out of the back case, because in these watches the movement sits into the case, right? It's how it protects it, and luckily so, because surprisingly the dial didn't get that harmed, because the dial again was found in a second bag of broken watches, but the movement itself was still encased in the back. And like again, surprising that the dial never got scratched up or hacked up, because it was just out, amongst a bunch of broken watches. So I put the whole piece together. I serviced the movement. It was a beautiful movement to work on. I had a migraine for 3 days trying to see all these tiny parts. That's a tiny watch, people. I'm not kidding. That is packed in there. But it works beautiful. It sounds nice. It feels nice. It's got a nice little heartbeat to it. Absolutely love this little piece. And, well, my wife loves it as well. But there you go. This is some of them. Oh, and the last one, one that I'm wearing, wrist check, is a Roots watch. Again, nice piece. Fits the wrist beautifully. Solid stainless steel. This is from their Roots steel line. I don't know how old this is. It came to me in a bag. Looks really nice. I didn't have to do much with this one. It wasn't that hacked up, which always makes me wonder, like, how does these end up? Like, how do they end up in Value Village? I have no idea. Or thrift shops. Like, honestly, I gave it a polish. Like, I mean, I cleaned it up. I polished it up. I had to take some of the links out of it. So, I mean, it was like I have the spare links to it as well. The dial, the crystal, everything is in beautiful condition. I honestly, like, these, in my opinion, these are not disposable watches. Like, they're just not disposable watches. And I come across a lot of disposable watches where you wear it until the battery dies and then you chuck it, because it's literally, like literally when the battery dies, the hour and minute hand just drop to the bottom. Like there's no, with no power, they just, the movement's crap, right? But this is not a cheap watch. Roots is not a cheap name. The other thing too about fashion watches that you have to understand is that Roots themselves does not make this watch. Like there's a company out there that makes this watch, and sometimes these high-end fashion brands, well, Roots, technically, I don't think it's a high-end fashion brand. It's an expensive fashion brand, but they contract manufacturers to make their watch. And case in point is Tommy Hilfiger. I have a Tommy Hilfiger, although that was a gift for me. Like it was gifted to me. But that Tommy Hilfiger, when I looked it up, I was looking at the quality of it, and I was like, okay, this is a really quality watch, the Tommy Hilfiger. This is a quality watch as well, but the Tommy Hilfiger was a really quality watch. And I'm like, this is, someone's got to have made this thing. So I did some research, and in the model year of that watch, and I can't remember, I got it a number of years ago. Believe it or not, it was Movado that was making the Tommy Hilfiger brand. Like they had the contract to make the Tommy Hilfiger brand. To back that point up, I was repairing a watch for a guy, and he came over and he dropped off a bunch of watches for me to polish up and repair for him and to make them look nice. And one of his watches was a Tommy Hilfiger. And when he went to pick the watches up, I said, "Oh, you have a really special piece here." I said, "I love Tommy Hilfiger." Again, this is not a Tommy Hilfiger. This is a Roots. I just holding this watch. But I said, "I love Tommy Hilfiger," and I said, "Do you know?" I said, "And I believe yours is the same. It was made by Movado." And he laughed and he says, "Wow, you know your stuff because, believe it or not." I bought that watch, the Tommy Hilfiger, from a Movado dealer. He said it was amongst the Movados. Like they had one side of the store was Movado, the other side was Tommy Hilfiger. And he was told that the Tommy Hilfigers were made by Movado. And I believe it, you know. Even though it's not a watch out of a bag of watches, next time I do a video, I'll show you my Tommy Hilfiger. It's a gorgeous piece. I still think you can buy them too on Amazon. They go for about 160, I think the last time I saw. They're about 160. Anyways, but getting back to this, I'm sorry, I went down a rabbit hole here. But this is the Roots watch, the Roots Steel collection. Very heavy watch, very comfortable. In fact, so comfortable I forgot that I was wearing it. Has Roots on the clasp here, and again, I don't know how that ended up in a broken bag of watches, but there you go. So I got the Roots here. And again, like this was the Boulevard is again something I don't understand how that ends up, but there you go. So hopefully I will be meeting with my watch supplier this week sometime, and I will bring you another bag of watches. Oh, by the way, I did make a mistake last week. I said that it was episode 5. And I posted it as episode 4. I said episode 5 in the video. I don't know where my head was at. It's been a long week. But that was episode 4. Technically, this isn't episode 5. This is a little bit of a different video tonight. I'm sorry I didn't get a bag for you. I will have a bag. My supplier told me he has them. But I wasn't able to meet up with him. But I will get you a bag next week. And it should be uploaded by next Sunday morning. So a week, less than a week from today. Anyways, everyone, have yourself a terrific night, and if you like this video and you like the content, please leave a message in the comments, like and subscribe. That's keeps me going. I love doing this, and I'd like to hear from you. Thank you, and have a good night.